Hi everybody, welcome to today's tutorial. This is the first in a series I'm calling the Tunisian Stitch series. And the first one we're going to do is the Tunisian single extended crochet. So I'm going to show you, this is a sample I did, but it's a little too dark to see, so I'm using a brighter yarn. You'll need a Tunisian hook, and I'm just using, I'll zoom out here a little bit so you can see what I'm using, and then I'll zoom back in so you can see my hands. This is just my straight hook. I'm using a size 5mm, would be an H. For the tutorials, you can, if you're just practicing, you can use just a regular crochet hook. And I'm using just some Caron Simply Soft from my scrap container. And with the Tunisian single extended crochet, you have to chain an even amount of stitches. And it's a really simple stitch. I got it from one of my Tunisian stitch books. So I'm going to chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So there we have our 20 chains. Now if you remember, I had done a tutorial I think a while back of doing your foundation row. So with that, we're just going to skip the first stitch here, and we're going to go into the second stitch. I'll put a little closer so you can see it. Just make sure it stays in focus. In focus? Okay, so I'm going to skip the first stitch, go into the second stitch. Now you can do the third loop. I'm just going through the under the 2 bars, and you go all the way down, putting your hook through, yarn over, and pulling through, but leaving the loop on your hook. I'm just getting some yarn here. And you do that all the way to the end of the row. And when you get to the end of the row, you should have the same amount of loops on your hook as chains that you started with. So I should have 20 loops, and we'll double check that when I get to the end. I'm not fast. I'm just slow and steady. You don't have to be fast. And if you are, hey, kudos to you. But I'm just slow and steady. And plus, going around the pole here, trying to make sure I stay in frame. And, I got an extra. There we go. I had an extra piece of yarn on it. Caron Simply Soft has a tendency to split. Oh, like that. I thought I would start a series with different stitches, just like in knitting. I'm going to do some knitting tutorials with various knitting stitches. Again, there are tons of channels out there that have a whole lot better tutorials than I do, but if you're here and you want to check it out, I'll have it here in my playlist. I'll be starting a new playlist for the Tunisian stitch tutorials. And we're almost down to the end here. Yeah, it's Caron Simply Soft. Why did I pick this? Because it loves to split. The foundation row is fiddly. And I missed back here. It'll show you, see, I missed one. So I'm going to pause the camera here. I'm going to go back and fix this, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Okay, I've reached to the end, picked up the stitch. So you just count your stitches. I started with 20 stitches. I should have 20 loops. So there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and 20. Okay, this is your foundation row. So we just do it like normal. Remember your return pass where you yarn over, you pull through the first loop. Then from there on, it's yarn over and pull through 2 loops until all the loops are off your hook but one. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over. This yarn just wants to split today. Through 2, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you just keep doing this all the way to the end, and you'll be left with 1 loop on your hook, and then we will begin the stitch tutorial. So I'm almost here to the end of mine, and I am going to show you the books I have that I use. I've got, I think 4 or 5 Tunisian books, but this was a set of 3 that I ordered from Amazon that I will be using for future tutorials. Two more, 1 and 2. So there's your foundation row. So I'll get some yarn here. And before I start, I'll show you the books that I use. The first one is Volume 1, Tunisian Crochet, Basic and Textured Stitches, Volume 1. It's by PETRA, TORNACK-ZIMMERMAN. And right here is the Extended Simple Stitch. And it's abbreviated TESS. And it comes with a chart. The book comes with chart stuff. And in the other volumes, this one here is Colored and Striped Stitches, Volume 2. And in the beginning, it has your basic stitches. And up here in the corner, there is your Tunisian Extended Simple Stitch. So that's what I use for my tutorials. And you can take any of these stitches, combine them, and make your projects. So this is a very easy stitch to do. You start by chaining 1. You always skip that first vertical bar. You're going to go into your next vertical bar and go underneath it like that. Yarn over, pull up your loop, and then chain 1. And that's the repeat. So we go to the next vertical bar, under loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and chain 1. Next vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1. Next, and you do that all the way to the end. Chain 1, under the next bar, pull up a loop, chain 1, under the bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1, under your vertical bar, pull up a loop, chain 1, under your vertical bar. Like I said, it's a really basic, simple stitch to do, but it adds height to the stitch, just like the extended single crochet and regular crochet. Almost to the end here. Chain 1. Sometimes I like using my straight Tunisian needles if I'm not doing a big project, because it's easy. Oops, gotta get that one there. It's easy using my thumb to turn on my stitches there, especially when I'm doing my return pass. It's all preference, all personal choice. I use this and my Denise set. But it's like, I'll give this a use today since I haven't used it in a while. Under the loop, yarn over, chain 1. We 5 more stitches. One. Oops. Already chained my 1. Try and chain 2. Let's try that again. Under my vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1. Under my vertical bar, pull up a loop, chain 1. Under my vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1. Yarn over, chain 1. And down here is my last stitch. So make sure you get under both of your bars. And you're going to pull up a loop and chain 1. Okay, and that's what it looks like. And then you're just going to do your return pass like normal. Yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, through 2, through 2. Again until you get to the end. And my tension isn't the best on this today. So let's finish this up here. We'll do a couple rows. My last 2. Yarn over. So I'm down to my last focus. Oh, it doesn't want to focus now. I apologize for being out of focus. I'm going to pause it here. Okay, and we're back. So let's do it again. I'm going to chain 1, skip the first stitch, and go into your next vertical bar. Pull up a loop and chain 1. Do a few more, and then I will let you finish the row, and I will meet you at the end. So under your vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1. One more. Under a vertical bar, pull up a loop, and chain 1. Continue that till you get to the end of the row, and I will meet you at the end of the row for the return pass. Okay, I'm coming to my last few stitches. So I'm going to go through the front vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1. Under the vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1, the vertical bar, pull up a loop, and chain 1, and then we're to, missed a loop there, we're to the last end, the end here. Make sure you go under both bars, like that, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and chain 1. And then you will do your return pass like we always do. Yarn over, pull through the first loop. That's like a turning chain. And then yarn over, pull through 2. Try this again. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, continue doing that till we get to the end, and then we're going to cast off and show you what it finished when it looks finished, like when you get to as long as you want and you want to cast off to finish the stitch, and I'll show you why I cast off. I know a few patterns I've done, they didn't have cast off, and I contacted the designer and they said it was my preference. Well, I think it has a more finished look, and I'll show you why. Get here to the end. Over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through, through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, I'm just going to pull this loop up here. And this is what extended single crochet looks like. Now, you see how this is open on the top here? Because it's unfinished. It's not closed like it is done here. So, I do have a tutorial about this, but we will do it in this tutorial also. We're going to cast off. So to cast off, you go under the first vertical loop, yarn over, pull through the one, and pull through two. You go to the next one, it's just like a slip stitch, and you just pull through both of your loops. You do that all the way to the end, and you'll see the difference in how it has a finished look to it. And it's preference, I guess, personal choice. I think it gives the piece a more finished look, instead of leaving that top row open. It finishes off the stitch, and you'll see the difference. They call this casting off, which we cast off in knitting, and Tunisian is a cross between crochet and knitting, because you have all the loops on your hook. And the thing is, the finished fabric, a lot of times, especially the Tunisian knit stitch, has a look of knitting. And it's always a very squishy, Tunisian makes a very squishy fabric. And you can do a lot, lace stitches, color work, which we'll get into in the future. But I wanted to start this new series. I'm going to try to do one tutorial a week, depending on my work schedule. It's not the tutorial that takes so long, it's the editing. Okay, and then you go through your last loop, pull up to there, then take your scissors, cut it off, and what I do to finish off, I just yarn over and pull my end through. So you see the difference, how it finishes off. It finishes off your project. You don't have that open look up there. So that is the Tunisian Extended Simple Stitch, abbreviated TESS. And I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you're going to enjoy the future Tunisian tutorials as we do this journey together. So if it was helpful, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. Is there another stitch you'd like to see? If not, I'm just going to start picking a stitch and doing it. So thank you, and have yourself a wonderful day. Hugs, smiles, and happiness. Pass it on. Make the world a better place. And I will see you in the next video.